I'm Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and everybody's got a price for lazy booking. Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to Lazy Booking. No, it's true. It's damn true. Ho! Hey, folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and if you want to know what's going on in wrestling, check out Lazy Bookings. Ho!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of Lazy Booking right here in the Real Talk Studios in Runnymede, New Jersey. And we are brought to you by the Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy. If you got any aches and pains, you go to him. You will not have them anymore. And you can find him at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com.
What up, fam? Welcome to Lazy Booking. Niche Night is back at you here on A2DRadio.com. We're taking you up to 9:30, 10 o'clock. Hockey Happy Hour will be coming at you for all you puckheads out there.
Oh, yeah.
Not the letter I'd put in the front, but whatever. But, and it's a good night.
Yeah, it's a good night.
So far for the Flyers right now.
Good night. It was more like what you were saying earlier last week.
Yeah.
When, it was a really bad game. But anyway.
Yeah. It was ugly.
Yeah.
Real ugly.
Very ugly. And I was there. Yay.
Oh, Maddie, you're like a jinx, man.
I can't. I physically cannot go to the well anymore. I'll have to watch him in the Prudential Center or something like that. Hopefully that reverses the luck.
Hey, guys, don't forget to. We're also brought to you by Ambuck Services, gutter cleaning, deck restoration, installation, tree trimming, all kinds of things that they do for you guys. Hit them at 856-879-5530, or you can visit them on the web, ambuckservices.com. Our topic of conversation tonight, amongst other topics, is NXT TakeOver Portland, and that's brought to you by ATS Sports Picks. For all you junkies out there who like to throw a few shillings down and try to win a couple bucks, guess what? Get 20% off of your purchase on a package, guys. Just use the promo code A2D, get you 20% off. March Madness is a great time to use it. The Super Bowl just passed. That was a great time if you missed out. But get on there. It's ATSSportsPick.com. There's no S at the end of the site. ATSSportsPick.com. Win some money on A2D.
And who knows? Maybe you even want to gamble on the XFL at this point in time.
It wasn't bad.
Apparently, it was very successful its first week
It's
out.
not bad. Not bad. But our topic of conversation, obviously, we're going to be talking about NXT Portland. We're going to be going through the card, and we're going to talk about, we're going to give our predictions on what's going to happen. And our main topic here is Johnny Gargano and Finn Balor will end up being stealing the show for the night. Agree, disagree. It's a pretty damn good card, I got to say. So, there's some other possibilities, but we want to talk to you guys. So, Instagram, Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever you guys are checking us out on live right now, we appreciate you. If you can't check it out now, maybe you're listening to us on the podcast forums. That's awesome, too. We love that. What's it, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever you want to call it. Google, was it Google Play? I can't even think of things now.
Google Play.
That's
Spotify,
right.
Spreaker.
Damn you.
Spreaker.
It's the one I always forget.
iHeartRadio.
SoundCloud.
Trying to beat
whatever
him,
your preferred podcast platform is, you guys can check us out. I'm getting the Spreaker one now. Now I forget all the other ones. I only have so much room in this friggin' brain of mine that I can't remember these things.
Any place that you can listen to audio.
Yes.
We're everywhere.
Yeah. Check us out. Listen, and go on all of them. Follow us on all those platforms if you're on them. Give us a rating. Give us a like. Give us a review. We love you guys. We want to hear from you guys, and we hope that we continue to bring you all awesome content here on A2DRadio.com.
All 7 days of the week.
All 7 days of the week. Well, listen, let's get into it. NXT TakeOver. We're going to talk Raw and SmackDown recap as well. We're going to do a little AEW recap, and Hot Tag is back. A lot of news that came out this week, so it's definitely a good idea that we touch on some of that. But NXT TakeOver Portland, I'm going to need Mr. Ryan Brodo to bring up the card for us.
Hey, man, do you mind pulling it up real quick? I'm just doing
Sure, I'll
tags.
pull up the card.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Maddie Brodo, the trio is back.
It's been a little while.
I feel like it.
Well, a week.
It's 1 week too long, though, Maddie.
That week feels long.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
No, then you were here 2 weeks ago, but then you were off the week before. When
Yes.
we had Pete Evans from birds of a feather joining us.
Just too much change, Maddie. Just too much change.
I know. I used to never miss a show.
No, and now it's becoming a normal thing.
I know.
I'm pretty pumped for this card, by the way.
Yeah.
NXT TakeOver.
Well, how about, I mean,
Portland.
we talked about it a couple weeks ago. It's a rarity that we have a weekend where it's just NXT.
And it's a Sunday night.
Yes. It's not the first time it's happened, correct?
That I can remember. I could be wrong.
I
but
think it happened one other time. I feel
like it was after one of those Saudi Arabia pay-per-views.
I think it was that same month.
Well, I'm gonna hit
and they did it in not Brooklyn, or maybe it was Brooklyn. I forget where it was.
Ritter says, yo, it's the OG crew back at it again. Fellas, have a kick-ass show. I'll pop later if I can.
Thank you,
Still
Andy.
at work.
Thank you, Andy.
One thing, though, how weird is it going to be to watch TakeOver on Sunday, like we're talking about now? Have they explained the reason for the move? Is that to show that they are now on the same level as Raw or SmackDown?
I think maybe it's just out of practicality reasons, only because the only NXT TakeOver routinely was the night before one of the big pay-per-views.
Right.
So this just happens to fall into not one of those weeks. So
Rosca chimes in. No, not potential spam. Got a spam phone call.
Oh.
Rosca chimes in. What's up, boys?
Is he calling?
So ready. Are you blocking your number and calling me, Rosca?
Well, he did it.
I mean, he was calling
He
Ryan
did it during the
couple
hockey
weeks
happy hour a
ago.
couple weeks
That's right,
ago
I
on the
remember
ATV
that.
I
phone.
do remember that. He said, what's up, boys? I'm so ready for NXT TakeOver, and I am ready. I'm so ready for Ruthless Aggression after TakeOver. I'm pumped for that, too. Has anybody seen the preview of Ruthless Aggression?
We were watching it right after
It's
the.
awesome.
We were ripping apart. It was right after last week's show.
Yeah.
We were ripping apart the network.
Let's
go ahead.
revisit this real quick. Okay.
Let's set the scene.
So obviously with the news, and we still haven't gotten any clarity because it's still the details are being worked out, that there's a strong possibility that some of the pay-per-views may be pulled off of the network and more done in terms of how UFC does through the ESPN app. So basically having another streaming service host, and it's like a pay-per-view purchase. Like UFC, you have to subscribe to ESPN Plus and then purchase the pay-per-view through them. So we went through this whole thing last week about how, and I said it, like, for me, I'm a binge watcher, right?
Yep.
I watch the network for like 2 or 3 weeks, like the content, and then they don't release content for like months other than a show here and there. So I pay whatever for it, but I don't really watch it that much.
Same.
So for me, it's like, if they're going to pull them big four off of there, I'll figure out a way to watch the other secondary ones. But I really only watch it for the NXT takeovers.
Yes.
So what I would do is basically just cancel my subscription, and then I would subscribe on weeks or on months that they have NXT TakeOver. Go ahead.
I mean, honestly, the only reason I really watch the network is for the older content, like just to go back and watch older Raws, older SmackDowns, older pay-per-views, just for the hell of it, for nostalgia reasons. And sometimes to actually watch old territorial stuff that I never got a chance to watch. As it pertains to the modern day stuff, I don't necessarily watch that nearly as much. Like, unless the pay-per-view's happening that night, sometimes I'll be over at a friend's house and I'll be watching it there. So I won't be logging in to watch those because I already seen it. So for me, it's not really that big of a deal if it wound up having. I mean, it's a big deal for everybody else because it's like, okay, the big four getting pulled off is a big deal, but at the same time, there's how many streaming sites that you don't have to pay for that you can watch it on, and that's going to come into play too. It's just like, it just really is.
Disclaimer, we don't promote
No, I'm not saying
piracy
that.
and illegal streaming.
But it does happen.
It's something that exists.
And it does
and it
happen.
may or may
very
not be an
often.
option for some individuals.
Yes.
But you are correct.
But we
Yes.
never partake in any of that.
I would
Never.
No,
do
but
that.
it does
Never.
happen out there, and
No,
that
I don't
could also
think
be
it does.
counterproductive to this decision that has been made.
We're all good people. We don't do
Yes.
these things.
See, this is the sin alarm. Something that we've never had to play in our lives.
Yeah.
In our lives, it's this.
Yeah.
It's not this. Okay? Thank you.
Nah, listen, for me, I like the interviews and the different things. I've enjoyed the Steve Austin Broken Skull Ranch shit that they've had going on. I remember the name of it. What is it?
It's Broken Skull Sessions.
Sessions, right.
Broken Skull Ranch. Actually, is that the name
Well,
of
that's
Austin's
the name of
property?
the ranch.
Yeah,
Well, the
okay.
old one. He doesn't live there anymore.
Oh, okay.
It's the old one.
By the way, his Instagram is phenomenal.
Oh, my
He's just out there. He throws something to the dogs. The dog goes and gets it. He talks to the dog, and that's the end of the Instagram. It's literally that's it. Once a week. It's amazing.
I love Steve Austin. He's so good. But, like, I enjoy that stuff. I enjoy Photo Shoot, which is really good, and, like, those things.
I have seen those. Those are good.
Yeah, I get into that stuff and the interview things. I like the 24s and stuff that they run, but they don't release enough of it.
Yeah.
And you go through these stretches of months and months. And listen, I mean, I can go back and watch previous content and old pay-per-views and stuff, but I can only do so much of it before I'm like, all right, I've had enough for a while.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not constantly releasing content, like seasons, how, like, networks have seasons. To me, like, they drop everything in one shot, and then there's a huge gap in the middle. So for me, I can sit and binge watch that kind of stuff and then not have to subscribe for 3 or 4 months until NXT TakeOver comes out.
And we talked about it last week. For me, it's different because we always talk about how there's so much normal wrestling content during the week, stuff that is happening live, to where it's for most people, and I'm one of them, it's a struggle to find time to watch all of it. Like, for example, like last night, like Chrome and I didn't get home until 4 or something. Mm-hmm. We have to then go back, to even view AEW and NXT. That's not one that's two big things.
Are you pertaining to that sin alarm? What were you guys doing for so long that allowed you guys to get back?
We were with the fam on the A2D radio.
We were battling with the cable.
And we were battling with the cable. There was a battle last night.
Might have to hit that sin alarm.
Oh, yeah. But, and so then once we find the time to watch Raw, SmackDown, AEW, NXT, then you don't even talk about 205 Live and everything that falls in between, which I'm not a 205 Live viewer. I apologize, but I'm just not.
I've never watched a full episode.
And you're on to something even more than that. Imagine if you're someone who tries to be really hardcore into this, and you're not just trying to watch WWE. You are subscribed to NJPW, which has very weird times. They'll have 3 or 4 events during a week, and they have the really bad time zone because it happens at like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Right.
On top of that, NWA Power comes out on Tuesdays on YouTube. AEW Dark comes out on YouTube during the week as well. Impact as well. That's Tuesdays, right?
Tuesday nights.
And then on top of it, you then have AEW Dynamite on Wednesday with NXT at the same time.
WWE Backstage.
Yeah.
I only watch when CM Punk is on.
Yeah.
And then SmackDown at the end of the week to kind of round everything out. But that alone is 1 week.
Yes,
worth
and
of
that's
content.
a lot of stuff.
That is.
And again,
and that's ROH too.
Yes, and
all of that.
So it's a struggle just to consume half of that, let alone all of it. Then you're talking about, to your point, Chrome, the original content that WWE Network has, which, number one, if they do end up putting out anything, some of it or most of it's not it's not worthy of a little bit of time that we do have to watch it after watching so much of, wrestling programming during the week. I think, honestly, and I said this last week, if they took any pay-per-views away, let alone the big 4, it would really defeat the purpose of me having it. Because listen, I love wrestling. I've always watched wrestling. I watch it for the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Because the weekends are different. Like, I can take the time to watch the pay-per-views.
Right.
If they don't do that, I'm not getting it for the podcast and the skull, whatever the Stone Cold. You know what I'm saying? The Stone Cold thing
Stone
is.
Cold sessions.
The Stephen Stone Cold off.
Like the Edge and Christian show, which is I feel, do they even have that? Like, that's a funny thing. Like, do they still have
now?
No.
Yeah, so
2 seasons.
Yeah, so I don't have time for any of that.
Yeah,
stuff.
and I agree. It's really tough to keep up with it, which is why I binge watch.
Yeah.
At points. But son of a bitch if they didn't sucker me back in. We were sitting here talking about how they haven't dropped amazing content in a while, and what are they doing now? They're dropping the Ruthless Aggression series.
And I'm telling you,
which is all the it's similar to the Monday Night War series they dropped. With all the inside stories of everything that went on then, and it looked phenomenal.
And then I do not think it's a coincidence at all, because literally 5 minutes after we get done ripping it, we always talk about, the theory is, Facebook's listening to our conversations. Oh, you don't like the network?
Vince is listening.
Here you go.
Yep.
I literally went on to Facebook. First thing I see is that. And I said to Crow, I'm like,
So-
what is this?
So what we're looking at now is the network is slowly turning into that streaming service that doesn't necessarily have the new content until much later. It's just, if you want the network, this is like a vault of past content. That seems to be where the direction is going at this time, as compared to where it is now, whereas the pay-per-views are immediately on there after the fact, and they're live streamed on there.
So, I'm wondering, I guess, does that mean, like, if they take WrestleMania off after it's to watch it live, you have to have that other streaming service? Otherwise, you can go back and watch it later? Because I'll be honest with you.
I'll just go and
fucking go back and watch it later.
Yeah. I'll just turn off all alerts. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'll watch it the next day. I don't care.
Because that's what it sounds like they're doing here.
I'll find one of my
you
sucker
know.
friends who keeps paying for it and just be like, I'm coming over to watch the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Is he listening right now?
Oh, I mean, I got tons of friends that are suckers, so.
Oh, okay. Well then, all right, good. So at least that wasn't descriptive enough.
You know what, though? I don't think because if they did that to where they didn't stream it on the network, but they literally uploaded it a day later, I don't think they're dumb enough to do that. I think that it would probably be like a month later.
Well, that's why I
was
think
thinking-
that's why I think they're only going to do it with the big four, because that's the ones people want to watch while it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no one really wants to pay to watch any of the other
Like
stuff.
Fringe,
you
maybe
know?
Money in the Bank too, because there's so many the spoilers on that ruins the event. Other than that, yeah, no.
Great Balls of Fire. Oh, wait, that's not even a thing
I
anymore.
miss it so
I
much.
know.
It's the greatest pay-per-view of all time.
Funny part
It
is
was
the actual
here.
pay-per-view itself was not
It
a
actually
bad
was very good.
pay-per-view. It was actually one of the
That was
better
Joe
pay-per-views
Lesnar,
that
right?
year.
Yeah.
That was Joe Lesnar?
That was Joe Lesnar.
That was Joe
It
Lesnar,
was
and
just
they had.
ridiculous of.
I think there was a good WWE title match too on that show, if I stand correct.
I'll go back
But,
and look at the
yeah,
card.
either way,
Hey,
it was
no,
actually
I'll go back
not
on the
a-
network.
I was
and
just going to
watch
say,
it.
we can
Yeah.
watch it on the network.
We could. Hey, why don't we do that now?
They just grabbed us right back in.
We'll have live reactions to Great Balls of Fire, even though it happened 3 years ago.
But Raska is right, kind of circling back. That show looks awesome.
It
and they've
does.
suckered me into at least watch until it's done.
So, Ruthless Aggression era would obviously begin after the Monday Night War, and it would pick. Where would it like cut off? Like around the time when
I don't know. I don't know yet.
'Cause
I mean, it's early, so you're getting like early scene, like Cena's debut is something that they talk about on there.
Probably Lesnar in 02 when he first showed up.
Yeah,
It's probably gonna-
a lot of it is geared around that class. Lesnar, Orton, Cena coming from OV, and Batista coming from OVW.
It'll probably be up until Cena goes to Raw.
Maybe
It'll
Which
probably
was-
be Cena's entire SmackDown
That might have been when it
tenure.
changed.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it's hard because the Ruthless Aggression era, it ends right when the PG era really starts to become more prevalent, and that's when Cena was Super Cena. So I say more like around like a 2007-ish, 2008-ish time.
Yeah, because he had
I
that
think
feud
that's
with
more
Edge
of,
and Khali.
Yeah, I think that's more of when that.
Hooves
started
dropped in. She
happening.
said, "I have no idea who those people are in the poll, but I agree." LOL.
Thanks,
have a great
Steph.
show, gentlemen. Thanks, Hooves.
Hey, Steph.
Yeah. So, all right. NXT Takeover card. Who pulled it up?
I got it.
Thank you,
All
Mr.
right,
Sincerity.
so street fight match: Dakota Kai versus Tegan Knox.
This has
So
to be
this was
Dakota,
interesting.
right?
We're kind of basically just going to combine two talking points here because we're going to end up doing. Well, no, never mind. I forgot. I changed the criteria on it. I was thinking talking about NXT this week, but it's kind of all the same. So,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, we're finally getting to the head here. You know, you think I don't know. I think I'm going Dakota in this match.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, if you want to make a good heel, the heel has to go over. So yeah.
If they're going, like, I honestly believe, so now Shayna's up on the main roster, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to need another top heel.
Quote unquote main
unquote,
roster.
yeah, true. We've been groomed into thinking that for so long, Maddie.
I know.
You would figure that they need another top heel women's wrestler to kind of fill that void. You know, you could say Bianca's there, but she's always been towards the top anyway. And I don't even is she really a heel? Because she's cheered.
I don't know.
Io's technically a heel, but she's cheered more than friggin' Rhea. You know what I'm saying?
It's because she's a Japanese wrestler.
Oh, because she's friggin' awesome, too.
Well, that and the fact that she's a Japanese wrestler. Japanese wrestlers usually get the biggest freaking reactions. Because think about it, NXT crowds, 90% of them are smarks. And smarks freak out over Japanese talent, no matter who the Japanese talent is.
So I think Dakota Kai could easily be somebody that is elevated and maybe gets a title shot in the near future.
Agreed.
I like Tegan Knox, but there's a ceiling there now.
There's an opening at the top of the card for another heel female. So
exactly.
I mean, it makes sense to put the machine behind Dakota for now.
I'm thinking that there'll probably be multiple heels to kind of fill the void. I don't know if they have that one necessarily right now. It on the roster, it does. Bianca.
They still have Bianca.
The possibilities there, but if she keeps getting cheered, then it's like, well, she's more of an anti-hero than necessarily a heel traditionally.
Let's be real. All of them get cheered. I don't put any.
That's a good point.
I don't put anything
right.
behind any of that anymore.
That's a good point. You're
but
right.
I look at other than Corbin, almost every heel gets cheered in wrestling now.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. But I look at this and I think of it's clear that Bianca is also kind of that on that cusp. I'm not saying now, but the next 3 to 6 months, I could see her being the next one, either the night after WrestleMania or as the SummerSlam build comes up, they start to kind of position her to be on Raw or SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
So, you kind of have to do these levels. They had Shayna before, and Bianca was kind of that next one behind her.
Mm-hmm.
And now everybody shifts up. To me, Dakota Kai could possibly be that person.
Do you think that Bianca gets a run with the NXT Women's title before she's shifted to Raw or SmackDown?
Absolutely.
Yeah, at
absolutely.
some point. Yeah.
She's the next one.
Okay. Then.
I could also see a heel debut. I don't know. I'm not even going to say here necessarily right now. But as a name I mentioned to you guys before we went on the air, because I don't know her contract status of if it's up now or if it's like a week or two from now, but it's coming up. That's Taya Valkyrie. There's heavy rumors that WWE is going after her. Obviously, her husband works for the company. I think she would be an awesome fit for NXT, particularly. And, she works well as a face, but she is awesome as a heel.
Yeah.
And her husband's working as a heel now, so you can kind of, it's not ending or screwing with the continuity of their relationship.
Is there a chance possibly that she doesn't go to NXT, but she joins Morrison and The Miz? And then maybe down the line you see Maurice to where it's the four of them?
Maybe.
That would be fun, actually, that dynamic.
I don't know that we're ever really going to see Maurice back.
Oh, yeah, because the kids, yeah.
Got 2 kids they're peddling around now at this point. But, who knows? It's possible. I don't think you see her right away. I think you end up seeing – I think she goes to NXT.
Okay.
Morrison had an established relationship with WWE.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to bring him up.
Yeah.
It's easy. A lot of people who were fans of the 8 years he wasn't there know him from before. He was a big enough star. And it's easy to educate people who he is for that 8-year window that he wasn't there.
And plus, he was around. Not that, this is the flagship anymore, but, he was on TNA for a little bit, too.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just like he just went away completely.
Yeah.
And if you were big into Lucha Underground, he was Mr. Lucha Underground.
Yeah, it's hard. Lucha was an awesome show. The problem with that was, unless you had the Del Rey network, you couldn't get it here.
No.
Yeah.
It was almost impossible to get it here in the U.S. It was on Netflix briefly, but
That's right, yeah.
yeah, then they pulled it off of there.
So are we all going Dakota?
Dakota.
Yeah. Speaking of stuff getting pulled, did you hear that Impact possibly got pulled off of Twitch with Rob Van Dam and
no, they did. So the reason that happened a while ago, and now if you watch their program now, they actually have a viewer discretion advised thing when you watch it. And the reason is when he had that sex celebration with his wife and her girlfriend. This is a real thing. He's married and his wife has a girlfriend, and they all have like threesomes and stuff. This is a real thing.
Okay.
So they turned it into a wrestling thing. They made it like an angle where he celebrated his win by he cut a promo in bed with them while they were like making out. They were in their underwear. They were like kissing him while he's like cutting this promo, and then they were like topless at one point. It was ridiculous. Anyway, Twitch, a part of their requirement is no promoting sexual stuff.
Understandable.
So the instant that Twitch saw that, they're like, "Nope, you're off."
Yeah, Maddie, I'm gonna hit that the sin alarm.
It was weird.
It doesn't sound normal.
It was very unusual.
Oh my god. All right, so next match.
Oh yeah, we're previewing NXT TakeOver.
Yeah. I figured that,
Off
throw
of Rob Van Dam's sex celebration, and let's go to NXT
Rob
TakeOver
Van
now.
it right.
the whole effing show.
That's what his wife's girlfriend says every time. All right, on to our next singles match. We have
He hit the Van Daminator.
So bizarre.
He hit them both with the Van Daminator.
Dude, it was the most bizarre set.
Rolling Thunder.
I was watching the program, and I watched it, and I was like, what the fuck did I just watch?
So he hit his wife's girlfriend with the Rolling Thunder, and then he hits his wife with the 5-star frog splash.
How did I not know about this?
Yeah, it was a big story.
It was a big
It
story.
was a very big story.
Where the hell was I?
But the funny part is like, how did that get through Impact's like guys? That's like, wait a minute, you guys don't know you can get thrown off of Twitch for shit like this? It's one of your fucking platforms. Like what?
Well, now I told you, even on their regular program on Access TV, now they have to put a viewer discretion is advised thing up.
Oh my god.
Oh, next match, man.
All right,
I
next
gotta-
up.
I gotta
Speaking of
recover.
sins, we got Finn Balor up against Johnny Gargano, Mr. NXT.
So to the poll question, yes, this is going to steal the show.
Agree.
I have been waiting for this matchup since November, and the build to this has been absolute friggin' fire. I am so pumped for this, and yeah, I mean, I am so interested to see how these two guys work together. I mean, this could be a banner moment for. I mean, and Gargano's had some really great moments in NXT.
Yeah.
This could be the banner moment for Finn or for Gargano in NXT.
If this isn't the early one of the early candidates for match of the year, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Yeah,
and
I
I
mean-
almost feel like that's unfair expectations, but yet again, I don't think it is. Just because we've seen phenomenal matches out of Finn Balor. I mean, look at how great the match was with the European kid.
Yeah.
At Worlds Collide.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no idea who that guy was, and that
yeah.
was an awesome match.
Yeah.
And a lot of it had to do with, it wasn't just Finn, obviously.
Right.
But we're talking about Johnny Gargano and Finn Balor in the same ring. It's going to be unreal. And they're going to get time.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to be rushed with this.
Oh, yeah.
Probably not. They'll probably be the match before the main event, probably.
No, I think this
I think
match
this
is going to be so high energy. I think this will be the middle, and then one of the other matches will be kind of a breather in the middle.
All right, yeah, maybe.
'Cause
Well,
you don't want to burn the crowd out after this match.
it's hard
for your title match.
It's hard not to do that though at an NXT show where every match.
Any
is
chance
usually
this ends
very,
it?
Very good.
No,
No chance that it's
I
a main
think
event?
you get Cole and Ciampa. If this ends it, something's happening.
Should we go into that?
I mean, they did talk about a possible rumor of a big debut happening.
Yeah, and we thought could something happen. I mean, it could happen in the title match though as well.
Yeah.
We threw out the name Killer Cross out there as maybe this is an event where not just the typical he's hanging out at ringside for
Yeah.
like just a camera shot and then he leaves.
Yes.
No,
Like, we were talking about that. I could see Killer Cross costing Gargano in this match and being Finn's like Wardlow or like his henchman kind of guy, and they're like a duo together.
I wonder, as a parallel, because Triple H loves doing these parallel things. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 2 years ago, around the same time of year, Adam Cole showed up and he attacked McIntyre.
That was at SummerSlam.
Was that that was summer? Okay. Because I was saying
I was there. That was at SummerSlam.
I wonder
that
if
was
they
at
would do
TakeOver
something like that
okay.
again.
That was when O'Reilly and Fish showed up.
They were, they interfered in the
they were
match.
standing-
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they were standing. It was Drew McIntyre, right? They were standing kind of there, and then all of a sudden, you saw from the corner, you saw friggin' Adam Cole running from the crowd as those two were kind of standing there eyeing him down, and then it became the Undisputed Era.
Didn't they get involved in a tag match earlier in the night too?
No, that was their first showing as well.
Oh, okay.
They all debuted the same time.
Yeah, because the only time that anything with tag-wise was when the tag titles were vacated and Roddy joined them.
Yep.
But next up, let's see. Oh, wait a minute. We made our picks yet?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Finn in this one.
Same. I wouldn't have him lose yet.
Yeah. I mean, Finn's kind of going through a
Just because I
resurgence.
think something's gonna happen here. Otherwise, I would pick. If it was straight up, I'd pick Gargano. But I do think something's gonna happen.
I don't know.
even-
Johnny's like that
You know what?
perennial.
I'm gonna change it. Screw it. Just to be different. I'm going Gargano in this one.
I don't think Gargano's going to win because I think this is going to be a long feud. I think it's going to be multiple match.
It could be.
And usually when that happens, the heel wins first.
Yeah.
That.
I think it's going to mirror what they did with Ciampa. You know, Gargano lost. Like Gargano can lose, and he's not going to lose any. He's not going to lose momentum.
Yeah.
But the thing is too is that Gargano's kind of been made to be the underdog, the perennial underdog, no matter what match he's in. So it's not really a surprise if he does take the L.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. To me, Finn can take an L too, and it's not going to really affect much.
No.
But we'll see, because this is kind of the battle of I was Mr. NXT before you were, and you're now Mr. NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be the kind of the top dog, the face of the company? So I mean, I could see. I feel like if I'm going to go with Gargano just to be different from you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like there's going to be interference, and clearly it's not going to be for Gargano. So
Okay.
See, I say he wins clean. Balor.
okay.
To me, I'm not going to say there's nothing left to do with Gargano because there clearly is. They're still going on the up with this new quote unquote Finn Balor, which is really the old Finn Balor before he was in it. Yes,
Right.
There's still a lot to go through with this, and I think that they're going to continue on the path that they were going to go through before Johnny obviously got hurt. You know, a month ago or 2 months ago, to where they're just going to continue on this path.
Damien Estrada on the YouTube said ruthless aggression era ended when Matt and Edge started beefing. Matt Hardy.
Oh, what year was that?
2006-ish time? 2005-ish time? Something like that, because Mac got released, and then he didn't come back until like 2 years later.
It's around the same time frame as when Cena got drafted to Raw. So
Yeah.
It's all around the same time.
And then Edge wound up winning the WWE title for the first time around that time period. So, all right then. Next up, we have the WWE NXT North American Championship. Mr. Bask in his glory, Keith Lee, defending against Dominik Dijakovic.
This is the match I'm looking forward to the most.
Man, they put an awesome promo video with Mark Henry.
Yeah, I heard about that, yeah.
Hyping these guys for this match. And, dude, it got me juiced up for it, too. And I'm like, yeah, let's fucking go. Like, he really talked about the athleticism of the guys, talking about how big men. I loved how the video started with big men have always had a spot in this sport, basically, and they showed a quick black and white flash of all these guys over the years, from Andre to Psycho Sid to all, friend of the show, to all these other things, and Yokozuna and all these other guys, and then it eventually started talking about the next generation, though, and he was talking about it's Keith Lee and it's Dominik. Is it Dominik, right?
Dominik
Dijakovic. For some reason, I thought I got his first name wrong. Dijakovic.
It is weird that he is a Dominic.
I don't know.
It
Whatever.
sounds.
Is he a Dominic? Wait, that doesn't sound right.
It says Dominic right here with
Yeah.
a K ending it.
Yeah.
You know, it's because of Ray's stupid son. That's why.
Yeah.
Well,
I blame
mean,
him.
But I like this match, or I like the way that they built this feud up, and I mean that package alone showed the history that these guys had in their series of matches before, and he did it like it was almost like a complete analyst breakdown. Like, this is the characteristics of this guy, Keith Lee can go in and he can club you down, but then he can do athletic things that you've never seen. They showed him doing like a plancha and all this different shit. And same thing with Dijakovic, talking about how athletic he is, how fast he is, and people don't realize it, and how they've just had this amazing feud. This match is going to be a top notch.
And with that, who do we think gets the W?
It's so tough to me because
Is it the guy with the basketball name? Because that's exactly what Dijakovic sounds like. Sounds like a three-point shooter.
yeah, it does. Hey, the friggin' Sixers could probably use him. I'm gonna go with Lee
It's
here.
going to be Keith Lee. They're not going to take the title off of him yet.
They're strapping
Lee,
him to a rocket ship right now.
Vince apparently is in love with Keith Lee, so naturally that's usually a sign that he's going to get rocket strapped.
I'll tell you what, though, man. You know who I really look at Dijakovic and he reminds me a lot of? He's like another Cesaro.
I'm glad you said that. I thought physically looking at him, you were going to throw out like a Heidenreich type of a thing.
Good God. Maybe he could be on your WrestleMania list.
Wow, yeah, great.
I don't even think he made it to one. Did he
know.
make it to one?
No, he didn't.
No.
He lost to Undertaker in a casket match when he had his run at a Rumble, not even a WrestleMania.
Yeah, he didn't make it a wrestling.
Poor guy.
Andy's back. He says, where are we? We're running through the NXT TakeOver card. We've already done, what matches? We did Gargano and Finn. What was the first one?
Dakota and
Oh my
Tegan.
God, Dakota and Tegan. So you could drop it.
This was a late night for us. We're
This is a
fine.
real late night.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get on the horse here, guys. Damn.
The horse
The
is cute.
struggle is real. I didn't know. I didn't realize I was going to struggle like this today.
It's just bucking you right the hell off.
But yeah, so Andy and anybody out there, drop in your picks for these matches, guys.
All right. Next up, we got NXT Women's Championship on the line. We have Rhea Ripley, the woman who defeated Shayna Baszler, to face off with Bianca Belair, who had quite a showing at the Royal Rumble this year.
It's a shame, man. It's a shame. Like, I'm actually going to change my answer from what you asked me last week. You had mentioned and you had asked, is the Charlotte thing really kind of overstepping this feud? And I had said no, because it kind of elevates Bianca, especially their promo last week. It completely ruins the mystique of this, in my opinion, because there's no shot Rhea Ripley's losing this.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Like, even if Charlotte wasn't involved and like it was still a quote-unquote mystery, or even if we didn't even have any inkling that Charlotte was going to be involved in this, I probably would still go with Rhea, but there would be a little bit of, well, you had the great showing of Bianca at Royal Rumble. You know what I'm saying? Now it seems like it's the easiest one of the night to predict.
Yeah.
Which tells me this is a DQ. This tells me there's not, because to me,
Yeah.
it can't finish clean. If they do, I don't think it's smart at all, because then you're pinning Bianca.
I mean, I think Charlotte ends up costing.
Yeah.
both
she has to
and
run
takes them
in.
both out.
Yeah.
Now,
Could that be a triple threat at WrestleMania?
that's
I
what I was
want
going to
that
say.
badly,
It
but they're not
sounds
going
kind
to.
of weird if they're going to go that route, because that seems to be the only end game. If you're going to have Bianca inserted into the title picture this early, and you're not, obviously you want to strike when the iron's hot, and she just had that performance at the Rumble. I get it. You're kind of in that spot. But the thing is, you don't want her to lose clean.
Yeah.
And you don't want to exclude her from any big moment that she could possibly have to keep her momentum going. And even if she is losing, she, isn't going to take a fall at WrestleMania
I'll tell
necessarily.
you what, though.
It could be a big opportunity for her to at least show up and say, hey, I'm here.
They're not going to do it, but if they really want to get crazy, you make that a triple threat and you have Bianca win it. Like, if you really want to get crazy, they're not doing it, though.
I wouldn't.
I would love
It
it.
would be crazy,
They're not doing
but
it,
I
though.
think because they want to really push Rhea, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be real. The more I think about this, though, I do believe that this could end up being a triple threat at WrestleMania. I don't think it's by accident that they put Bianca in this spot at the Royal Rumble. And it doesn't have to be necessarily a foreshadowing that she's going to come up to the roster sooner than later. It could be simply to position her for a WrestleMania spot with Charlotte and Rhea.
Yeah, and because I doubt they would do 3 1v1 women's matches.
Listen,
I feel like they would let the one stick out because you think the Bailey's probably going with Sasha,
And let's be real here, too.
and obviously Shayna Becky.
This is a way that, if this happens, this is a way that you can have Charlotte lose at WrestleMania, not go to NXT, and not have to take the pin.
And on top of that,
Yeah.
Has anybody been keeping up on status on Ronda? Just out of pure curiosity.
I don't think she's going to be back for Mania.
Okay, just double checking that because if it comes
Who's
down,
she going to face?
well,
No,
not
she wouldn't
necessarily,
wrestle.
not necessarily.
She'd get involved. She'd get involved.
Yeah,
in the
that's what
baby
I was
match.
going to say. Not
And
necessarily
then they
wrestle.
do something at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
She shows up and then she
Maybe.
goes away. I
Maybe.
think she's
I
laying
guess I
in the
could-
weeds.
I'm only throwing that out there because that's another fly in the ointment that should be addressed, just in case it comes up more consistently in the news.
Yeah,
you know?
I really buy into that. That Ronda comes in, maybe leading to Shayna beating Becky, and then by SummerSlam, Becky has the title again, and it's Becky Ronda. You know what I'm saying?
Stat guy Andy chimes in. He says, Heidenreich participated in a 30-man battle royal at WrestleMania 21. Thanks, nerd.
Wait, what WrestleMania was that?
WrestleMania 21 was
21 from
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
It was the last time they were in LA.
Oh, 5. Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing was, the Battle Royal is like the pre-show.
Yeah.
It was the precursor to the Andre the
Yeah,
Giant
but they
Royal
recognize
Battle
that as
Royal.
an appearance at WrestleMania, though.
They do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ritter says, he also chimes in, stat guy Andy, and he says, would it set up for Bianca versus Flair at Elimination Chamber if Flair does cost her the title? Which does build up to a triple threat where Bianca wins. Charlotte puts both of them over. Brodo and I are on the same wavelength. You don't need a Charlotte versus Bianca one-on-one match.
No, you don't.
You don't need Charlotte on the card at Elimination Chamber. Charlotte's position is cinched in for WrestleMania.
Charlotte doesn't really even need to do it anyway. She could, hell, let's be honest. She's such a star. She only has to wrestle on what? A handful of pay-per-views a year? She doesn't even need to wrestle on all the pay-per-views.
There's been events that she hasn't been on this year. Well, last year.
There you go. Just tell you
But-
everything you need to know.
No, we don't need the extra match. This is where it's like, let's just take spots away from people who deserve spots because we have to have Charlotte on the card when you don't need to have Charlotte on the card at Elimination Chamber. Take that off. Don't replace it with another match. Give the chamber matches time. Like I'm fine with that. So, no, you don't need to see that. I'm thinking more and more this is going towards a triple threat match.
I'd be fine with that.
do
Me
you
too.
think that maybe if they go that route with the interference and everything, that maybe they even put Bianca on Elimination Chamber, and if she wins a match, she gets into a match?
No, I don't see their. I don't
see
see them.
that.
No.
Oh, I'm only throwing it out there as a way for her to kind of get into the Mania match. And
Well,
make
that
it
could be the
mean
one-on-one
sense.
match then.
Or
If you do an Elimination Chamber, it's whoever wins that gets into it. You can't do that. That you could do Charlotte versus Bianca. If Bianca wins, she's in the Mania match.
Or no, I think we're overthinking this. Why don't we? What if they did a thing? Because you're gonna have an NXT takeover the night before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Do something where Bianca's got to face somebody.
They're not going to do that though.
Well, at my point, I don't think they're going to do either of them. My point is, I don't see them putting an NXT superstar on Elimination Chamber when they have another NXT pay-per-view, before WrestleMania.
But the thing with doing it at Takeover the night before Mania, especially with WrestleMania, they want to promote everything.
Yeah, true.
So they're not going to leave that up in the air the night before. It's not however many years ago where you can kind of get away with doing surprise twists and things like that. WrestleMania is selling itself.
Swerve, bro.
Swerve, bro. Like they're gonna, yeah. So Bianca's gonna get in the night before, and then when you get to WrestleMania and you buy all the shirts and merchandise, and they have all the shirts for the different matches, they're gonna magically have 100, or they're gonna magically have 15,000 Bianca, Charlotte, and Rhea Ripley triple threat matches that just so happen to show up because
Oh, and then, because we're going to keep swerving you, we're going to have Charlotte lay down in the middle of the ring, and then Vince Russo's going to come out, and he's going to throw the belt in the middle of the ring, and then cut a promo about how Charlotte didn't want to lose this match.
Yeah.
Matt Milcarrick, he's in here. He says, I think Ronda will be in Shayna's corner no matter what. They will play it as Shayna avenging her best friend. That's a possibility.
Now let me throw this scenario to you with that, because you know how Vince, and you just said it, you know how they love promoting things. Is there any chance that instead of my scenario where she shows up at Mania, maybe she shows up the Monday before WrestleMania as another way, like, oh, Ronda's on the show, because you know how they love doing that. Like, oh, by the network, you're going to get Ronda Rousey. You know what I'm saying? As another little wrinkle. I'm just so confident that she's going to be involved. And the biggest thing
I'm not.
was the anti-swerve, in my opinion, which is when she posted at Royal Rumble the little meme of, do you really think I was showing up? Like, I feel like that. Like, she's even like...
Yeah, but people, like, it's so easy to troll people and do
No, I
absolutely
know.
nothing.
That's why it's the anti-troll
here's the thing,
troll.
though.
I don't
the thing
see
is,
it
though, is that
happening.
I know that people obviously were bringing it up more, but the more that someone gets addressed in the media and the more that people comment on their status, it's almost like, okay, they're setting up for something. Don't know what's going to happen, but Stephanie's commenting on her status. Rhonda's commenting on her status. I'm like, okay, they wouldn't be doing this shit if they weren't planning something.
Here's the thing. All right, so Matt says, I'm going to I'll piggyback off him. He says, yes, I think Ronda will be back on TV soon. If Ronda is going to be a part of WrestleMania, you're not getting a swerve. You're not getting her to show up because she is a selling point. Mm-hmm. You're not getting her showing up the Monday the week before. It's going to be a month before where they can, whether she's a special guest referee or she's a corner girl for Shayna, whatever it is, or she's a special enforcer.
Yeah, I was going to say more of the special enforcer.
Whatever it is, she's a selling point. There's no way they're going to go the whole way to WrestleMania and not sell this match. And that's so I think he's spot on. If Ronda is coming back, I'm skeptical of that. But if she's coming back, it's got to be soon. It's got to be maybe the night after Elimination Chamber. That's the only way that I could possibly see it happening.
And the only match really that makes sense for her to be involved in is Becky and Shayna. No other match.
Yeah. He also says here, since nobody cares about the women's SmackDown title, they could easily turn that into a multi-person match.
True.
There's no history behind that, though. So putting like I don't know specifically what we talked about that he's mentioning that. If it was because we were talking about Bianca getting in. We weren't specifically talking about triple threat matches. We were saying because of Bianca almost getting lost and this being so predictable to lose, it's not necessarily that she's going to just lose and be out of this.
Yeah.
I like what Ryan said. I'm actually going to go with you on that. I don't think anybody wins this match. You get a DQ. I think Charlotte interferes, and I think this ends up being a triple threat match to keep the continuity.
This isn't a multi-person match for the sake of just having several people on the card and just for it to add more people to it. That's usually how they book under titles that don't mean anything. It's like, okay, everybody's going to get a spot here, get your participation trophy here, and somebody's walking out with the belt. Don't know who. We'll figure it out when we get there.
Tom chimes in, yo, boys. Andy
Hello,
says,
Tom.
do you have her show up on a weekly TV or do you save the return for Chamber? And if it is on weekly TV, I would have to think her return closes out Raw or SmackDown.
Well,
I think Shayna will win an Elimination Chamber match
probably
to get in. I don't think Becky is going to be necessarily, a part of that pay-per-view. So I don't see Ronda just showing up for that. I could see an altercation the night after Chamber, and then Ronda shows up, or music hits, or whatever it is, and it's like, I got my person behind me.
Damian Estrada on YouTube says, I doubt that Ronda is coming back at all, only because her hand is more broken than when she broke it at Mania, plus she is still working on having kids. Money talks, though.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
I mean,
she's opened up the door to come back.
Mm-hmm. And like I said,
She's said that.
I don't think she would wrestle until SummerSlam.
I just don't know that they're going to do it now. And if she comes back, she's never going to work a full-time schedule.
No.
well, yeah, but at the same time, if you want her to come back for an eventual match at, say, SummerSlam, now would be a good time for WrestleMania build-up and to really kind of put the linchpin in for SummerSlam. Be like, oh, shit, okay, Ronda's going to wrestle at SummerSlam. You know, since they like to do this nowadays where they will space things out like they used to back in the old days, you know.
Matt over here says she doesn't need her hand to stand in the corner.
Yeah, that is a very
We've got
good
Facebook chirping at YouTube.
I love it.
We've got Facebook going.
Chirp at each other. I dig it. I love it. Let the fam fight.
Oh, I
Let's
like
go.
that.
Not fight. I love it. It's great.
I
That's
can
why
fight.
we have.
I like that.
That's why we sit and have conversations.
Yes.
It's so funny. Good.
It says they put Ronda on the card. What did he say? They put Ronda on the card. More people watch. Bottom line, no matter
You're
what she
absolutely
does.
right.
Yeah.
Her and Brock Lesnar are those people. Whether you love or you hate them, they will bring eyes to it. They will bring a national media to it to pay attention to it.
I mean,
Ronda is money.
yeah.
Well,
Brock is money.
let me ask you this, and this is high praise, but would you say that Ronda is at all even close to being the same league as being the Rock of the women's division?
No.
No.
Okay.
Nobody is the Rock of anything.
Okay.
No, but I put her as the Brock Lesnar.
Because the direction I was going with that is, you saw The Rock a year before he faced Cena the first time.
Right.
He interferes, and then they plug something a year later.
Yeah, but that's a totally different story. I mean,
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
yeah, because I mean, you have to think about it. All of the stars aligned here. The Rock was available to do a show, wanted to do a WrestleMania, wanted to wrestle again, and he's one of the biggest stars WWE ever produced. So big, in fact, he wound up being able to do movies.
I mean, he's the biggest star in the world.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like that's very hard to duplicate.
No,
You
I'm not
can't
even
really.
I'm not even
know.
saying duplicated. My point is, because they have done things in the past to where they'll plant a seed for a storyline, and this is not even a seed
okay.
that needs to be planted now. It was planted this time last year. They would revisit a storyline and then not finish it until SummerSlam. That's my only point.
I'm going to say something that may or may not be controversial.
Oh boy.
A Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey storyline planted is nowhere near on the level of a John Cena.
Well, that's
Dwayne
obvious.
Johnson.
That's not controversial.
But that's why that worked. It's because it was Dwayne and John Cena, and Dwayne hadn't been around for years. And now he's this mega superstar. Like we're not talking Brock Lesnar like MMA, like even.
No.
He brings a mainstream audience, but we're talking like Dwayne is like the biggest star in the world, hands down.
So big, in fact, he considered running for president at one point.
And you have this guy coming down now to go against the biggest wrestling superstar,
The
personality, whatever you want to say, in the world. It just sold itself.
Yeah.
People didn't see Dwayne coming back at that time. It's like, oh, this guy's never coming back, man. He's doing freaking movies.
Well, it was literally he came back to face the guy who replaced him too. It
Right.
literally went from Rock to Cena.
Like the women are progressing in massive ways now, but nowhere near to where you have a superstar that you can keep that kind. People anticipated that all year.
Yeah, true.
That maybe they could try it, but I feel like that'll lose steam pretty quick, and then maybe it'll pick up around Rumble again. It's not like that was unheard of that they were able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, is there a woman on the roster right now that can get to that level?
No.
No.
It's just so hard to.
There's nobody in the world that can do what Dwayne Johnson did and then be able to pull off something like that.
That's one of those things that
It
happens.
was a perfect storm.
Yeah, all the stars aligned at the right time. For
I
that
don't
to
even know if
happen.
Hogan could have pulled that off in his prime. I don't know.
Hogan coming off of Mr. Nanny off the set, coming in and
Yeah.
pulling a wrestler.
But just remember, he has to go over.
Well, let me
Was that
ask
his
you this.
movie? Was it Mr. Nanny? That was one of his, right?
There's Mr. Nanny,
Yeah.
coming off
Suburban Commando,
which is epically great, by the way. Suburban Commando.
Oh yeah, the greatest line ever. I was frozen today.
I was frozen today.
I'll ask you this: which was bigger, Cena Rock or Rock Hogan?
That's
Match wise, it's
The entire package.
that is.
And I'm saying
tough,
Cena Rock
actually.
won. Don't go to two because they had a They obviously had two matches.
and I'm not going by the quality of the match because people are always going to shit on a John Cena match regardless. So if I sit here and say Cena Rock, people are going to go, "Oh, you're crazy, this and that." I mean, Hogan was limping around the ring half the time. If I'm going by just the build, to me, they're 1 and 1A.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, except Rock was the young guy, and now it's in reverse. Now Rock's coming back and taking that Hogan role.
But what's ironic too is that happens in 2002, and The Rock winds up leaving by SummerSlam to go do Hollywood and almost never come back, which is
Right.
kind of ironic
And
when you think about it.
The other
but,
big difference was that when Hogan did it, he was the bad guy because he was still NWO Hogan. Because remember, he turned right after that match.
Well, I mean,
the fans cheered him.
for all intents and purposes, he turned mid-match.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The fans were
true.
cheering the shit out of Hogan. They were booing
Once
the
he
hell out of the
he
Rock.
hulked up. He did the Hulk up thing.
That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen live, by the way, in wrestling. I have to, I go back to that, and that's right up there with any moment that we've ever seen from WrestleMania. And that includes Daniel Bryan. That includes Seth cashing in. That moment was so iconic to have those two guys when Hogan could still work a little bit.
Yeah.
And have that match and just the way that turn happened. You know, the only other time that something like that ever happened was Bret Hart and Steve Austin mid-match.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was insane.
Matt Milkaric says Rock and Hogan didn't close the show. And while that's true, even Triple H and Jericho both now say that they should have.
Actually,
remember the
everyone
crowd
says
was
they should
exhausted.
have, yeah.
Yep.
Triple H says at the time that was like, and in the moment, it makes sense that closed it because it was the double title match.
Right.
But really, the magnitude doesn't matter if all of the belts were on the line.
Right.
Nothing was going to eclipse what that match was.
And you got to think of what the mind frame was back then, because that was back when Vince had the mind frame of the championship always closes the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And also
He's learned from that.
Yeah, and also booking-wise, between the two build-ups, the one between Jericho and Triple H was brutal because Jericho was booked to basically just be another cog versus Stephanie versus Triple H during that time.
I mean, you can go back and look at Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair. That should have ended that pay-per-view.
Well, imagine, for example, if the Undertaker Roman Reigns match didn't close the show. If the Triple H versus Undertaker Part 2 in the cage didn't close out the show. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It wouldn't have been right. So I completely agree. Hindsight, there's a lot of matches that were the showcase matches instead of the main events that should have closed just because they meant more.
And to be fair, I mean, it had only happened twice to Vince, really. The first time would have been WrestleMania 13, and then, for WrestleMania 13, and the second time would have been X8. So it's like, okay, I understand. You know, he wasn't as experienced with that because 13 was Bret Hart and Austin. That was the only match that was worth a damn. Mm-hmm. And then X8 was Rock and Hogan. That was the only reason people were watching.
Roscoe, I don't have any idea what you wrote there, and I'm not reading it. I love you, buddy, but it makes no sense. And don't try to type back to me and then explain it to me either.
Okay.
Damian Estrada says Rock and Hogan was way better. Cena and Rock was okay.
See,
it depends on what you're looking at.
we're not talking about the quality of the match.
No, we're just talking about the entire experience of it.
The build up to it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's what gave the goosebumps, you know? And again,
to me, it's Hogan Rock for me.
I would say Hogan Rock for
But they're
myself
close.
as well, but that's only because they didn't have a year to build it up. It just kind of came right out of the blue and it hits you. I'm like, oh shit, this is happening in Mania.
It's one of my favorite
Whoa.
matches ever.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a good match.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
It was a pretty decent match. Wasn't bad.
But it wasn't the like when you think of like great matches like now you think of polished. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well,
The thing that drives Hogan's most infamous matches aren't the quality of
It's
the
the
matches.
story.
It's the story that's told in the match. That's what Hogan's not the greatest worker. He's a great storyteller.
Yep.
Hogan was not trained to be the greatest worker in
Right.
the world. He was trained old style. So it was, you're not there to look pretty, you're there to work the crowd.
I
That's
might go
what your
back and
job
watch that
is.
later. I might go back and watch that match.
I might actually.
I'm serious.
While I still have the network.
For now.
Matt says Rock and Hogan. That was the one he said earlier. Andy says Rock and Hogan for me, but it's also two different scenarios. I don't think you can properly compare. Like Chrome said, they're on the same level. That's another one too. Maddie says HBK and Taker didn't close 25, and that should have for sure. Absolutely. So it was a decent match. Hogan's best match in years. Agreed.
Taker 25. Was that when
26.
Damien
It was Michaels and Undertaker Part 2.
Damien
closed out the show.
Damien over in the
25
tube
they
says
did not.
Rock and Hogan was way better. Rock and Cena was okay. I mean, if we're actually looking at the quality of the match, I take Rock and Cena. If we're going to do that.
yeah.
In terms of the actual, for me, I'm a Hogan guy through and through. That Hogan Rock match was something I never thought I'd see in my lifetime.
I almost think the build-up was better, too. Like, if you take the match out of it and you just grade the build-ups, one of the craziest things, it was obviously Rock versus NWO, And then 2, you had a situation where, what was it? What, did Hogan drive a tractor trailer into Rock's car or something?
No, it was an ambulance.
That's some weird stuff.
Because it was a tag match. Rock tagged up with Austin. They faced all the members of the NWO, and they beat down Austin and Rock. Rock went into an ambulance. Hogan literally drove a tractor trailer right into the ambulance. Man, tell you, it's amazing what they used to be able to do back then. They try it now, and no one would give a shit. Back then, they gave a big time amount of shit on.
What
that
was
one.
the song that they used for that promo to build into that match? Do you remember?
Which one? X8?
Rock and Hogan.
What the theme song of the show or the theme
of
song
that match? They ran a
Oh.
promo. Was it My Way or the Highway?
Well, I thought
I
that
don't
that
believe
was
so.
I thought that was Austin and Rock
Might have been.
because I think they did Limp Bizkit in 2001 because that was the
I'll
theme
find it.
song for
I'll find it.
WrestleMania.
I'm
Well,
not
we're
gonna-
going
I'm
to
not
take a quick 5-minute break.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on the other side, guys, stay with us over on the Tube. Appreciate you guys over here on Facebook. Stick with us. If you're on Instagram, Periscope, Twitter, all that stuff, we'll be right back.
Who
with you.
would have thought that we would be talking about Hogan Rock?
This is
From
what happens.
2000.
This is what we do.
This is why I say this is the only show on this network that, like, every week we never talk about the plan criteria
And
because
it's absolutely okay.
wrestling can go in so many different directions, and we will always talk about what you guys want to talk about. So if you take us in another direction, then we're strapping up, putting a seatbelt on, we're taking the ride with you.
Hell yeah.
We are going to take a quick 5-minute or so break. We're going to come back on the other side. We're going to finish the NXT card. We'll touch on some of the other things, and we'll go from there. So
All right then.
we'll talk to you guys in a few minutes.
everybody. I'm Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and everybody's got a price for lazy booking. Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to Lazy Booking. Go, it's true. It's damn true. Ho! Hey, folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and if you want to know what's going on in wrestling, check out Lazy Bookings. Ho!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Lazy Booking right here on HUDRadio.com from the Real Talk Studios in Runnymede, New Jersey. Brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, run by the one and only Dr. Paul Vidal. And if you got any aches and pains, you won't after you visit him. And you can find him at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com.
What's up, guys? Don't forget Ambuck Services, too. They do a lot of stuff. Tree trimming, deck installation, all kinds of stuff. Check them out, ambuckservices.com. Gutter cleaning. This is the time of year you want to start thinking about doing that stuff, too. But anyway, we're back. We're ready to talk our ATS sports picks topic. We're gonna finish this card because we got way off the rails. We're gonna finish this card. We only have one match left, I believe. Two matches left. But the topic was Gargano and Finn will steal the show at NXT TakeOver Portland. Agree, disagree. I think we all agreed here that we believe that this could be the match of the night. Mm-hmm. This could be a Gargano defining moment. And again, that's ATS Sports Picks. Use the promo code A2D, get you 20% off all your first-time purchases. March Madness coming around. A lot of big things coming up. Make some money on A2D for all you junkies out there who like to place your bets. ATSSportsPick.com.
All right, then. And
quick side note, too. Just because we were talking about it. We went back. So it wasn't like a specific song geared towards that. But watching that promo video of Hogan and Rock, we all just sat here and watched it. Dude, the chills
I know
that you get from it to this day.
The goosebumps.
Oh,
man.
my God. 18 years later, or not 18 years, 16 years later, and you still, I feel that energy.
I know. It's like, man, back when WWE used to give us goosebumps.
Yeah. I mean, that was an unbelievable moment. We were all saying, we're going back home and watching it while I still have the network. But
before they take the big four off and you cancel it.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty special moment. Right. If you've never seen it, go back and watch it.
Next up, WWE NXT Tag Team titles, the Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly against the Broserweights, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, that I think should have been called the Bruiser Bros, but that's just me. But anyway.
I'm down with either one.
I actually like that. I like that,
good.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to this match, but the vignettes that they're running are so stupid. It's terrible. So are they both idiots that, like, has Pete Dunne not been in the United States long enough to know that you can't drive on the other side of the road and that neither of you can drive with no driver's license?
Why? See, why is it
that they don't get arrested for driving without a license?
Why is it that they have to go goofy with friggin' Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne? Why?
Well, Riddle, I could see them going goofy with Riddle, but with Pete, not so much.
Like, don't do that.
Well, I'm okay with playing up a little bit on the personality differences. Why I gave him a pass for the goofiness of last week, but this didn't do me.
I'm almost hoping they lose just so I don't have to see this anymore.
I
never thought I would ever, like, if you would have told me a year ago, oh, you're going to have a tag team with Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, I'm like, okay, that's friggin' awesome.
I'm with you. I think they lose anyway because I think this becomes a feud between Riddle and Dunne, which I would love to see that.
Who's turning heel?
I don't know.
Dunne.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, that would make sense.
See, I'm going Riddle.
I don't know. It's hard to – I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Riddle could pull it off. I have my doubts, though.
I don't care which one turns heel.
Yeah.
I would like to see this feud, and I would like to see this end.
Yeah,
so
tag end.
I'm going Undisputed Era in this match.
Same. Hoping for it, too. Rooting for it.
All right, then. Yeah, I got Undisputed Era. So, all right, next up, NXT Championship match, the main event of the evening. Adam Cole. Oh, okay, waited for it. Versus
Baby. Sorry, we're
Tommaso Ciampa.
We're slow tonight,
we're
Matty.
moving a little bit slower.
I could see this being where Cole drops the title.
I don't.
No?
Well, because of outside interference.
Yeah, but that's like every pay-per-view. Like, I feel like at this point, you may get outside interference, but I feel like Ciampa might overcome it this time. I'm going to go with Ciampa in this one. Retains, reunited with Goldie.
I'm going with Adam Cole because of interference from Killer Cross, and Killer Cross will be the newest addition to the Undisputed Era.
Could we see a situation in the coming weeks to where Roddy is booted from the Undisputed Era and Killer Cross was brought in basically to be his replacement? Even if they're together now, we eventually see like they used to do with the old NWO stuff where, you know, there's like maybe Roddy's clouded now because of everything going on with Velveteen, and then that ends up being to where him and Cole start kind of jabbing at each other verbally or whatever, and then, you know, you do the turn. Something like that. I don't know.
If they want to kick Roddy out, then I'm going to say Cole retains if they go that route. Only because then you have Roddy face off with Cole for the title.
Yeah.
But if they don't go that route, then
Andy,
you can't go wrong with Ciampa. But
thanks, Andy.
I'm going to...
What?
What happened?
He dropped the rumor we were just going to do on the air.
I didn't see it.
All right. Well, don't look in the chat.
Don't look at my computer.
Andy, that was part of something we were doing.
Here.
Well, it's okay.
My computer's over here. My computer's over here.
Sorry. 2/3 here have not seen it, so it's okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I literally didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Oh.
Either way, damn it, Andy.
And I used 2/3 properly.
It was so close.
But anyway, I will say Adam Cole retains the title.
Okay.
Because I actually like the idea of him and Roddy facing off for the belt. I think if they go that route, I hope they go that route, actually. I really do.
See, I could also see where Roddy's what costs him the title.
Possibly.
They go that route, and then Killer Cross down the line, maybe not this event, ends up taking, you know, that creates friction between them.
Like the night before Mania.
I got it. It's not It's not a bad option. I mean, if you go either route, though, I don't think it's a bad choice.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
I think we can all. I think what we're talking here, though, is that the end is definitely near. Like something's going to split in that group.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time.
I love the Undisputed Era, but I do feel like it needs something to refresh it.
Yeah.
So I could see that, and I mean, Killer Cross is a logical fit for them.
Yeah. Plus, also, you know, clearly they lost to Imperium, which I know may not seem like a big deal, but it's like, okay, Imperium needed the win because they're clearly going to stay together for a lot longer.
Yeah.
Undisputed Era, come on, it's going to either break up or something's going to happen.
That was just the correct booking decision.
Yeah.
Do you want to just tell me what the thing is, just so I could start looking at the chat again?
So our conversation last week was Sting and Undertaker. Mm-hmm. The rumors that were flying for that. Now, this week, things have shifted.
Again.
So we had gone on, and I had said, "Oh, have you heard about the Undertaker rumor?" And you guys didn't, and you threw a couple guesses out. Ryan guessed.
I had said Goldberg,
and you guessed.
I had said Orton.
Okay.
Originally.
And then somebody threw Corbin in there.
Yeah, because you said it's a regular superstar, and I said they're going to do
right.
friggin' Corbin to me.
So Andy puts. I'll read Andy's thing since it's.
Is it not any of those?
It is not any of those. Andy says comicbook.com is reporting that Goldberg and Cena are rumored for major matches for WrestleMania 36, which is kind of commonplace. We knew that
Goldberg
about Cena.
Cena
wouldn't be coming back now, which he's going to be on SmackDown. He says they are quoting WrestleVotes on Twitter, which I told Andy, if you follow WrestleVotes, and I will give them a cheap plug here because it's a great Twitter follow, they have gotten They've gotten every Hall of Fame prediction. A lot of the stuff they predict ends up coming true, and it's so funny because it's an under-the-radar Twitter account.
Don't tell me they're doing Undertaker Cena.
No.
They did that
supposedly
already.
It's either Bray Wyatt versus Reigns and Cena versus Goldberg.
Cena versus Goldberg.
Which I don't need that.
No, I don't want that
He
in
says,
my life.
or it's Wyatt versus Cena and Reigns versus Goldberg. Also, the Undertaker rumor reported is AJ Styles. I hate it.
Why?
AJ Styles doesn't need the Undertaker. I would rather have Sting.
No, I'm not. No. Well,
I think the original plan was Orton and AJ to get to WrestleMania, but clearly that changed with Edge.
Absolutely. Justifiably so.
Plus, they already did Orton and AJ anyway.
I mean, I'm not saying that AJ won't have a great match with Undertaker, but I don't want to see it. Like, at this point, I just don't want to. I would rather AJ be doing something else.
I'm very confused.
He doesn't need the Undertaker rub.
I'm very confused by this because if you think about it, it's like, where would this make sense? Like, if you did this with Balor and he did the demon thing, I was like, all right, that's actually kind of justifiable.
Yeah.
But AJ doesn't have that split personality shit going on, and AJ was doing the mid-card thing for a while. I know the OC shit was kind of stupid. But, I mean, I know he hasn't been doing anything major as of late, but it's like...
Well, he's been hurt.
That, too. It's just... But really? You want to just throw the Undertaker match in there? It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Booking-wise, logic, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Also, why are we doing... Is there even a rumor for Bray Wyatt Cena?
No.
So that Cena
they don't
could
think
break Ric Flair's record?
Well, that's where my mind goes, Matt.
That's exactly where my mind goes. Like, oh, okay, Bray Wyatt then becomes, okay, we're gonna drop the title to Cena?
I hope not.
With the bad haircut Cena?
I really don't need Cena and Goldberg.
No.
We don't need Reigns and Goldberg.
I would rather... I could see that. I would be down with that.
But that means we
I
get
just don't
Cena
want to see Goldberg.
Wyatt.
Well, I'd rather see Cena,
hell?
Wyatt, and Reigns and Goldberg than the other way around.
See, it's either trash or hot trash.
Matt says, I would have to see Styles versus HBK, but I thought Styles is hurt long term. Styles is not. He's coming back soon.
Yeah, that was like an overreaction or something.
It's not as bad as it thought. It's been out there that he's going to be coming back very soon. So
I mean, if they did Shawn Michaels versus AJ,
I'd love that.
That would have been perfect. Yeah, that would be perfectly fine.
How do they even start that feud?
I don't know.
Because Undertaker probably wanted to do another match at Mania, and they now are grasping at straws, and they have no clue who to put him in the ring with. So instead of putting him in the ring with The Fiend, they can't do that because he's Universal Champion. So they said, fuck it, we'll give him AJ. I mean, because they have nobody else that they could think of.
But I'm saying for storyline sense, it would have to be AJ comes out and says, I want Undertaker.
That would be the only way you could do it.
There's no reason for Undertaker to come back and attack AJ because they've never interacted.
Right.
They've been in a separate company for 20 years.
It's stupid.
Plus, also, it doesn't add up anyway because when you think about it, it's like, okay, out of all the comparatives you can make, you cannot compare Undertaker to AJ Styles, and you can't compare AJ Styles to The Undertaker. When they did it with Bray, it made sense because you can compare the two with each other. Reigns, you can compare it because he was going to be the next big thing, and so naturally it makes sense. This makes no sense.
See, Matt dropped in, what about Taker versus Samoa Joe? That makes all the sense
in the world. Inject that into my freaking veins.
I would love that.
I'll go with that one. Yeah.
I would love that. And Joe is a heel against the Undertaker with the promos and I'd be money for that.
On top of it too, they have similar kind of styles in recent years with Taker doing submissions and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
I'd love that.
I almost feel like it wouldn't even fit.
And Styles is a high flyer.
Well, I mean, he could make that work, but Joe is a guy that right now could use that rub.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, big time. He could absolutely use it.
And plus, we're gonna have the stupid stuff with the club or whatever, or the AOP, what do they call it?
No, it's just the club.
Now it's the club again. OC. So
So
many friggin' names.
So
for that thing.
stupid.
So then it's gonna be a 3-on-1. And what are we gonna have? Kane come back to be in Undertaker's corner?
Andy says, I want that less than AJ Taker. I'm still waiting for Demon Taker. If you're not gonna do that, then I don't want Taker on the card. I don't care to see Demon Taker at this point. Sorry, guys.
I'm good. Now they've given me old school Balor. I don't need to see Demon.
I like Balor. I could do without the periodic Demon entrances.
I don't need to see him ever
to get
again.
the Finn Balor that I'm getting now.
I'd rather go Black Taker.
But to be fair, though,
that would be good.
At the end of the day, if they had done that instead of AJ versus Taker, I still say, okay, it makes a hell of a lot more sense. Yeah. Even if they weren't building it up for it.
So we'll see. We'll see how that gets.
That's something. At least that's not Taker Corbin. I thought you were going Taker Corbin on
that. Yes, we could say that that's infinitely better than that, but that's not saying much.
Like, this is bad, but it's not nearly as bad as I thought you were going.
AEW this week, Maddie. Let's talk about it.
I mean,
great part. I don't know how much I love or hate, because I kind of feel both ways about they're going towards the Paige is acting different because he's like an alcoholic type of a thing.
I actually am not a big fan of that, to be honest with you.
I cracked up though with the graphic that popped up and it said "Day Sober."
Yes,
and it had,
I
like,
did laugh at that
13,000 something for
Kenny Omega.
And it had 0 for Adam Page.
Oh my God, that was funny.
That was pretty good.
That was good. I mean, honestly, though, I'm not a big fan of it, only because I'm like, I could understand if Page wanted to get away from the Elite and not have his head in the game because he's focused so heavily on wanting to be the guy in AEW, not one of the guys in AEW. That makes more sense to me than him just being a drunk. It's like, so what? He likes to drink. That's a really stupid, grasping at straws bullshit storyline right there. Smells of just the guys, sitting around saying, hey, what if we made Adam a drunk? That's literally what that sounds like to me. Like they Wayne's World on the couch thought of this. But anyway.
Annie said, no, that's fair, but at this point, this is my point. Taker just needs to hang him up and move on. I'm the biggest Taker mark in the room, and I'm saying this. It is the time.
Oh, you're not wrong. You're not wrong in that regard. No.
The ending was perfect for him after he lost to Reigns. It was
Yes.
literally perfect.
We all understand that. That being said, let's just wrap our minds around the fact that Undertaker is not going to be done until he's ready. Vince is ready to let him go. And I mean, as awful as it can be at sometimes, the man's earned the right at this point. If there's anyone that's earned the right,
His most recent match was pretty good too.
It was a tag match.
Still pretty good.
It was very good.
Pretty
it was
good.
in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
it was very good.
And
he looked great. It's the best
Yeah.
match he's had in years.
Yeah.
He didn't have to take on all the load. Oh, who was in that match with him? Oh,
Reigns.
right, Roman Reigns.
was his tag partner.
Oh wait, Roman can have good matches.
Roman can have good matches on
What?
pay-per-views, especially. What?
No. No way.
So, speaking of people shitting on matches, back to AEW.
Oh yeah. Yeah. What'd you think of the tag match to open the card, the tag title match?
I thought it was a good match.
Yeah.
I thought it was another one of those interesting finishes that they decided to throw out there. But overall, though, I liked what SoCal Uncensored brought to it.
Yeah.
Finish off them getting their rematch and moving forward.
I feel, and I'm not trying to nitpick, but I'm going to nitpick. I feel like there's a lot of botches that happen in AEW matches, and with great talent. But it's like missed spots. Like I felt like some of the timing on this, Kazarian is one. I'm a huge Kazarian guy, and I feel like I don't know, it's a chemistry thing with some of the guys that he works with. I feel like he misses spots. He misses where he's supposed to land. It's like very unusual.
It may be, and maybe I'm just grasping at straws here. Maybe it's a fact of being live on television and not having maybe that has something to do with it. Because of the fact that you got to break and then you got to really hit your cue because you've got this whole show that's still left to go.
I hate the picture-in-a-picture commercial break. I hate when WWE does it now too.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. And I watch things on DVR. I feel like most people do. Whether there's a picture-in-a-picture or not, I fast forward through every commercial break. The only one I might stay for is when Sammy Guevara is dropping the cue cards.
Because they're
hilarious.
What I like about that is he's making it something where it's like, okay, at least he's trying to do something creative here. He's not just standing there waiting for his opponent to come out.
Right.
I like that. But yeah, in terms of what I was seeing in the tag match, there were a few things that were weird, but maybe it was just bad timing. I mean, they had a match before for the belts on the cruise, and that one was fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I see it. It's not just them. I see it in a lot of matches.
But
what else we got here, Maddie?
Nyla officially became women's champion, but I be honest with you, I don't care, and the reason why I don't care, and you did bring up sloppiness before, which I will admit I did see that in this matchup.
She's sloppy in a lot of matches.
Yeah, and but here's the thing too. Even when Nyla was being touted as this big monster heel, and then she jobs to Rio, and she jobs to a triple threat tandem of two Japanese wrestlers. It's like they're all so smaller than her. They're not nearly as strong as she is. It's like I would care if she was built as a monster.
Yeah.
She is not. And so I don't care that she beat Rio. It took her 2 tries to do it. I'm
Yeah.
like, took you 2 tries to beat Rio, and you're that big. Fuck off. Like, come on. Now. Like, seriously, that I don't buy it. I don't buy it for 2 seconds.
I just think the women's division is it's clearly very thin. I'm not loving the Britt Baker stuff. Some people love it. I don't love it. I think it just seems so forced. I mean, when she went at JR a couple weeks ago, that was fire.
And also Excalibur, which was kind of funny.
But overall, I'm having a hard time buying her as a heel. But I think they're just so thin that they're trying to create heels.
Here's my problem, too. Okay, so Britt's a heel, and who's a babyface?
Matt says, Nyla sucks at professional wrestling. Her offense looks weak as shit. I said, maybe you'll agree with me, Matt. I know you guys like Nia Jax. I like Nia, but Nia can sometimes get real sloppy. And even as sloppy as Nia can be, Nyla is a poor woman's Nia. Like, it's not good. They work a very similar style as like a powerhouse, dominant woman. And Nia is better. There's no questions about it.
Nia Nyla. Nice. All comes together. But anyway. But yeah, I mean, overall, the way Rio can't talk. So it's just like you can't have a babyface that can't speak unless it's strictly match-to-match basis, which it was fine first time off with Rio. You can't do that again, you know? Yeah. That is a big problem with me. It's like you don't have now a babyface face of the women's division. Mm-hmm. Big
Not
problem.
A recognizable one.
Yes,
anyway.
That's the problem when you turn Britt heel. Now you don't.
Matt says they need to get control away from Kenny. He just keeps bringing in friends from Japan that nobody cares about. Chris Statlander would really be the only real babyface anytime soon. Agreed. That's the only legit babyface female that I see they have. They had Britt Baker. They screwed that one. They screwed the pooch on that one. They mishandled it.
Maybe Shayna, if she's ever on TV, but she's never on TV anymore. Yeah. You know, so there's that too. No momentum.
Yeah. MJF, that feud continues to build. Cody not there, making the comments after his win over Jungle Boy to Brandy. JR killed me on this. Shut up, you dummy. Get some class. Like stuff like that. And I'm like, shut up, JR.
Yeah.
JR is the worst.
And
King is awful. And JR is the worst. I can't take this stuff from either of them.
How the mighty have fallen.
He makes it so hard for me to watch a program. He is the worst. I want Excalibur and Tony Schiavone. That's all I want. Shut up, JR.
Who
Go
would
away.
have thought that we'd be saying this?
It's killing his legacy for me.
I know.
King, too. I don't even put them even close to Gorilla and Heenan because those guys were as older than them, and they were way more spot on than these guys are. It's terrible to watch.
But and besides that point too, the whole thing with Brandy officially just turning immediate face, no longer doing the Nightmare Collective shit, which is a godsend, really. Yeah. It's like, okay, so you just dropped an entire storyline and we'll never address that ever again. They'll get swept under the rug with the gobbledygooker in WWE and the rest of those bad storylines they had there.
Yeah.
But, it's just, what the hell? The best part is probably the MJF, Cody Rhodes, and anything Jericho does for the most part's pretty good. I don't mind what Moxley's doing, although I will say the eye getting taken out is kind
stupid.
of, that's a far-fetched thing. I don't really care for that too much.
It's stupid.
I mean, it's not necessary.
Last question we have, because we got to hop off the air, but I do want to just ask this question from Matt. What do you guys think of Jeff Cobb showing up?
I loved it. I was so excited when I saw him because Jeff Cobb is one of my favorite wrestlers currently right now in pro wrestling.
Yeah, he's a good fit for them. It's gonna be interesting and exciting to see what he's gonna bring to the table and what his role that's gonna play with Jericho. If he's just a hired henchman or if he's gonna be an official part of. Are you the hired henchman? Yes. Oh, or if he's gonna end up being a part of the inner circle. So, good stuff this week. Appreciate you. Obviously. Other quick note thing, Matt Hardy's contract is up. Follow that stuff on Twitter. We'll talk more about that.
May show up in AEW. We'll find out.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
Yep. But, great stuff this week, Maddie and Ryan. Appreciate you guys. Hockey Happy Hour's coming at 10. Give us who's our sponsors, Maddie?
Our sponsor is Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. If you got any aches and pains, you won't have it after you go see him. And you can find him at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com.
Don't forget about Ambuck Services, guys. Gutter cleaning, deck installation, restoration, tree trimming. There's a gamut of stuff that they do. Check them out. AmbuckServices.com and also ATS Sports Picks. Promo code A2D gets you 20% off all your first-time purchases, so make sure you check them out. They're our fam. They want our fam to succeed here and get some money, so let's get in there and let's get some money on A2D. Until next week, for me, Maddie, Mr. Ryan Brodo, we love you guys. We'll talk to you next week.